All right, y'all. Welcome back to week 12, class number 12. And today we're going to be going over spiritual protection, spiritual protection. So, in today's class, you will notice that just like the rest of the classes, that previous classes that we have done, those skills that you have learned or have reshaped will be good for you to be using in today's class. Like it all kind of brings it all together, okay? So, just to go over a little agenda of what we're going to be talking about tonight, is we're going to be talking about your aura, okay, for protection. We're going to be talking about using visualizations, which is clairvoyance, what we talked about in very early on. I think it was the second class. Okay, we're going to cover some crystals and stones for those who use crystals and stones in their protection work. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to briefly talk about herbs. Now, I'm going to give a disclaimer now that I am not an herbalist and I don't have a lot of knowledge and wisdom when it comes to herbs and using herbs. So I'm going to mention it, but I will not be going in depth on herbs because, again, that's not my lane. And I feel like anytime I'm teaching, I need to only stick to my lane because that's what I have been given. Okay. But I would definitely recommend that you find you someone who's a herbalist who understands herbs, who can maybe give you things that you can use when it comes to herbs, if that's something that you are uh, aligned with. Okay, we're going to also be talking about prevention. We're going to talk about also listening to your intuition and your body, using symbols, and prayers and affirmations, which is last week's class, and using it for protection in this week's class. Okay, so as we get ready to get started, at this time, I ask that you command protection over your mind, call protection over your mind. So if you notice on the previous classes, we always talked about calling protection over your mind. And in some classes, we talked about calling protection over your inner self, which is your emotional body. Okay. So if you feel led to, you can also call protection over your inner self if you need. So call protection over your mind, over your inner self, and any other part of you that you may feel that needs protection at this particular time while you watch this. One of the things about calling protection is make sure that you feel the protection as it comes over you. I'm gonna share with you that like when I do one-on-one sessions, right? And I call protection over that session, me and the client or person who I'm talking to on the other side of that Zoom or FaceTime, when I call that protection, we can feel that covering, we can feel that energy, that protection that the divine God is placing over us at that time. So anytime you call protection, just like when we talked about prayers and affirmations, which we're going to get into, again, allow yourself to also feel that protection being placed over you and then continue on what it is that you're going to be doing. So now that you've called that protection over your mind and inner self and over you, command that your mind and your inner self, if needed, be cleansed or I'm sorry, be cleared, quieted, and filled with the vortex of light or God's light or light, whatever phrases that you may resonate with best. Okay. Command that your mind be cleared, which clears it from the junk you don't need that's in there, quieted, which releases you from the things outside of you that you don't need to be attached to at this time, and then filled with the vortex of light, which is like a spinning vortex of light, God's light, whatever words that you resonate with, to fill your mind and or your inner self with as well. Okay. And again, when you do it, sit quietly, lay quietly, feel the light as it fills your mind. You also feel it in your body. Feel your mind quiet and clear because you'll feel your body get lighter and kind of detaching from whatever you don't need to be attached to. And lastly, before we get started, which is also another form of protection, is grounding, We've talked about grounding in the class when you're imagining yourself or physically going outside and connecting with the earth, allowing the earth to pull any undesired, unwanted energies, feelings, and emotions out of your mind, out of your body, out of your inner self. And that is also a form of protection. I think in the last class or the class before, we talked about grounding being emotional medicine, right? So when your emotions are in check, that is also protection because it prevents you from doing things or spazzing out or acting in a manner that can put you in harm's way. So even keeping your emotions in check and being grounded also is a form of protection. Okay, so remember tonight we're going to talk about many different forms of protection. So I'm going to just sit quiet, give everyone a chance to be to quiet their mind, clear, ground, be filled with light. Ashe. Okay, so if you're watching the replay or watching this on YouTube, you can always pause. Give yourself time to go through those steps again if you need to, then push play and keep on going. So, the first thing we're going to talk about when it comes to protection is the aura. Some people call it the energy field, right? Or my bubble, my space, the space around me. We have different words and phrases for it, but essentially we all kind of mean the same thing. So, the body, the physical body, emits this force field, this energy field from our body that's filled with the energy of our mind and the energy of our inner self. And so that aura kind of, when you're dealing with like being an empath, it kind of lets other people know what you are feeling or thinking or what you're going through, and the type of energy that you're operating from the inside in your aura. Now, also with that, because it is your energy that's coming from the inside into your aura, your energy also needs to be protected. Now, the aura sometimes can go out from, 3 to 5 feet from the body. It can spread out that far. And in some cases, with some people, I have seen where it spreads out even further than that. Some people have really, really big auras, right? Depending on how strong their energy is. So when you're talking about your aura, because it can be infiltrated, meaning your aura can have bad energy, bad spirits, other people's energies that may be bad, infiltrate your aura. It can affect you in a lot of negative ways when you come across that. So you want to make sure that your aura is also protected from bad energy leaking into your aura. Okay. So one of the ways I can protect my aura is one, using my command to fill my aura with golden light. I have been shown by God and my spirit team that golden light is a strong energy protection in the aura, right? So I will use my visualizations and my words, whether it be prayer affirmations, which we're going to get into, but you're going to see how prayers and affirmations also can be used in all of the different forms of protection throughout class, okay? So using my using my visualizations, my clairvoyance, I also will imagine my body with golden light, filling the aura, right? Also, you can also do it in a form where you may put a golden light around your aura. So I imagine my body, and then my aura is coming out, and then I imagine a gold light surrounding the aura. Okay. So I particularly use gold because that is what my spirit guides told me. But you can also use different colors. Like most people that I have came across in the past uses white light. So they imagine white light around their body, around their aura for protection. Initially, when I first came into my spiritual practice, some spiritual gifts, it was white light that I used, and that was kind of based off of what I've seen with others, recommending to use white light. And then my spirit guides again uh, instructed me that hey, maybe you would be better using golden light; it would be stronger for you. So that's what I chose. But you could use a purple light. You could use whatever color it is that you resonate with when visualizing, placing that shield, if you will, around your aura. Okay. So protect your aura. Your aura interacts with any and everything that's around you, right? Meaning, like I'm sitting here at my desk. That means everything that's on my desk, because my aura is extended even past my desk. That means whatever energy is on whatever that's on my desk, it's going to be interacting with my aura. You may even notice this, like when you get around certain people physically, that you all of a sudden may feel a shift of energy once you get close to them, because at that point, your aura and their aura starts to kind of merge because they're so close. So if you're around some unsavory people, or just people in general that may not be bad, but maybe they just have something attached to them, or maybe some negative energy, or maybe some bad emotions. Maybe they're a good person, but there's something else going on with them. You still need to protect yourself. So you call protection over your aura, okay? Protection into your aura. Golden light, white light, whatever it is that you resonate with. Okay? All right. So that's protecting and using visualization to protect your aura. Okay, so now the second thing I want to get into, and again, if it resonates with you, are some crystals and stones that may be used for protection. Now, typically, when we talk about protection stones, the first stone that usually is going to come out is going to be black tourmaline. Okay, and black tourmaline looks like this. Now, I have had multiple dreams of being shown to use black tourmaline for protection. So typically, I either wear it or I may have it on my person, meaning like I may have a piece in my pocket, or maybe a small bag, something like this with it in it, because black tourmaline is one that kind of flakes. It can flake. So maybe a bag. You may not want to put it in your pocket by itself. But black tourmaline, again, I may wear it as a necklace, or I may have some in the pocket. Black tourmaline is one that can be reflective, meaning it reflects the energy, the negative energy sent to you back to the sender. Like, look at it as a return to sender stone. So black tourmaline also absorbs a lot of negative energy as well. So if you have negative energy around you, black tourmaline can help absorb some of that negative energy and transmute it to something positive. But most stones and crystals that deals with absorbing energy, you got to remember it can only absorb so much, and then you have to discharge it. So I had a dream, I don't know, probably about 3 or 4 weeks ago, as a reminder to discharge my black tourmaline. So a month before that, I had a dream to wear black tourmaline for protection, and then a month later, I had a dream to remember to discharge it as well after it has absorbed so much. So um, any stones for protection typically are going to be stones that absorb. So you got to make sure you put them in the grass, let them sit overnight, let the earth discharge, that energy that it absorbed. So one of the things I do using an affirmation, right, is that I will place my black tourmaline outside in the grass, and then I say, I command that this black tourmaline be discharged and recharged. Ashe. And I just say a quick, prayer or affirmation over it with the intentions of what I wanted to do, and then I pick it up the next morning. So again, black stones are going to be typically your protective stones. So mostly black stones are going to be your protection stones. So another example is going to be black obsidian. So this is black obsidian, okay? And there's a part in here that's a little shiny. That's how you kind of know it's obsidian, because it's like when it's broken apart, has a really slick, shiny surface. But just like black tourmaline, it has to be discharged. Okay, so black tourmaline is also, or I'm sorry, black obsidian is also really good. Now, some other protective stones that you may consider could be like hematite. Hematite is the one in the middle here. It looks like iron, usually very shiny, and real hematite has a very light magnetic feel to it. If you have a strong magnetic field to your hematite, it may not be authentic hematite. So keep that in mind. Also, you'll know that, especially in the hematite beads, you may notice like a brown residue. which also shows you that it's real hematite. Okay. Another crystal that works really, really good for protection against certain entities like jinn spirits, for example, would be lapis. Lapis lazuli protects the third eye, and this is where a lot of jinn spirits like to hide, is in the third eye, in your mind. So lapis lazuli can be really good for protection against jinn spirits, protecting the mind, protecting the third eye. Okay. One of most of everybody's favorites is amethyst. Amethyst deals with the crown chakra. Okay. Amethyst can protect against a lot of entities, a lot of spirits, a lot of bad spirits. And it's really good for children. So amethyst is good for protecting children, especially in their sleep. So I always recommend, if you have young children, especially if they start complaining about night terrors, place a piece of amethyst next to them while they sleep or under their pillow, and then you'll notice that that stuff will cease. Okay. Another good crystal to use is labradorite. Labradorite. Now I got a piece of labradorite somewhere over here. I just seen it the other day. Where did I move it? I don't know where I moved it. Let's see. I have a necklace though. That's labradorite that I can show you. And by the way, all the necklaces you may see, these are ones I have created myself. So here's a form of labradorite. So this is the necklace I made some time ago. Okay. So I'll show you the back of it so you can see what it looks like. That is labradorite. Labradorite, I recommend when it comes to dealing with energy vampire spirits, meaning these are spirits that like to kind of suck your energy. Uh, Typically, spirits that deal with sleep paralysis. So if you have sleep paralysis issues, meaning that you sleep at night and then all of a sudden you feel like somebody is standing over you, touching you, trying to, do things to you while you're sleeping, labradorite wards those type of spirits away. So labradorite also a stone of transformation, but it's really good for protection against energy vampires, not just in spirit, but also in people. And so it's definitely a go-to stone crystal that I like to keep around me. Okay. And then you also have another one, pyrite, known as fool's gold. Also, a masculine crystal, so it's also good for protection because protection essentially is a masculine energy, not a male energy, a masculine energy. We're not going to bring gender in it. We're talking about just the energy. Masculine energy is protective. Okay, so and everybody has it, both whatever your gender is. We all carry masculine and feminine energies. And then some of the crystals also carry masculine and feminine energies. So any of your masculine crystals, stones, they're going to be good for protection. Okay. But then you have some soft crystals like rose quartz, which is more of a feminine crystal. Um, that's also good for protection, but it may be specifically to the heart. So wearing rose quartz can also protect your heart by helping you heal it. And if you heal your heart, then you also protect your heart because then you won't accept certain things into your heart space because it's healed. So crystals and stones, if that's something that you believe in, that you follow, then yes, you can use certain crystals and stones for protection. Again, wearing them, putting them in certain places like maybe your workspace, your desk, your bed, your car. Amethyst is good for the vehicles, keeping amethyst in your car for protection. So there's many different ways that you can use them. You just want to place them wherever you feel the need to place them for protection, whether wearing them or placing them in certain locations. Okay, so that is some examples on protection using crystals and stones. Okay. Again, I have on the list herbs, but I don't have the knowledge to really go deep into herbs. The only thing I can tell you that I know when it comes to herbs mostly is bay leaves. I know that bay leaves, I have heard of people using bay leaves in their shoes for protection, in their pockets, keeping bay leaves on their person somewhere, and also using bay leaves under the pillow. to not only help them dream better, but also to protect them in their dreams. When we're sleeping, it's important to understand that you got to be protected in your sleep too, because your body is at rest, and there are spirits that are sometimes waiting for that moment to try to infiltrate you. Now, I'm not trying to scare you or bring any fear mongering. We're just talking about reality. Just this is what happens sometimes, right? So you want to make sure that you also have some protection over you while you're sleeping. So I understand that bay leaves can be used also for that. Okay, now let's go into one of my favorite forms of protection, which is prevention. Most of the time, when we think about protection, we think about something being actively done to protect. Like someone is trying to hit you and you block it. You protect yourself from being hit. But what about the prevention? What about the part of let's not put ourselves in a situation where we'll have to do that, right? Sometimes prevention is the biggest form of protection. So this goes into listening to your intuition and listening to your body. Because a lot of times your intuition and your physical body will let you know when you are putting yourself in some sort of danger. When I was in my young teen or mid teens and to my young adulthood, I used to always get this feeling in my stomach when something was wrong. So, for example, there was a time when I was in the military, when I was in the army, and my fellow soldiers, my homies, they wanted to go out to this nightclub, and typically I would go. We would go, we would hang out, have a good time. Nothing goes wrong. We straight. But this one particular day, I said I'm not going. And my roommate, he asked me, we was at the barracks, and he asked me, he said, "You're not going?" I said, "Man, something in my stomach don't feel right about tonight. I think I'm gonna stay in. I'm not gonna go." Right? Stomach just don't feel right about it. And then that night, they went out, and some gang showed up at the club, and everybody got into this big brawl. And the next morning, when we went to the morning formation, you see some of the soldiers standing there with busted lips, black eyes, bruises. And my roommate, he told me, he said, "Man, I should have listened to you when you said you felt it in your stomach, because every time you say that, you always right. Listen to your intuition, listen to your body." Something told me, don't go. And I didn't. And because I didn't, I protected myself from what happened to them because I didn't go. Prevention, in my opinion, is your biggest form of protection, right? Another way of prevention could be um, not engaging with certain people, places, or things that is outside of your lane, outside of your scope. Staying in your lane is a form of protection. Even when we talk about spiritually, right? There are things that people do spiritually that doesn't align with you. That if you find yourself dibbling and dabbling in it, it can hurt you because you're not supposed to be doing that. So you may think to yourself, "Well, I got guardian angels. Why didn't they protect me?" They are. They're gonna let you go through a little bit of it. They're not gonna let it harm you too bad, but they may let you go through some of the stuff until you learn like that's not your realm. Stay away from that. So prevention is don't tap into things uh, that is not part of your reality, part of your alignment, so that you can prevent yourself from not getting into some type of spiritual attachments that you don't need to be in. Okay? Prevention. Prevention can also mean not hanging around certain individuals again or certain places. If you know certain individuals, you see how they act, you see how they carry themselves, you see what type of trouble that they bring to themselves. Prevention would be you protecting yourself from or preventing yourself from hanging with them because you know what type of smoke going to come with that. Meaning, if you know every time this person goes out, they attract trouble, you protect yourself by preventing yourself from going out with them. Now, if you decide that you're going to go out, of course, I would recommend that you still pray for protection or do whatever protection that you do over yourself. However, because you know by going out with this individual that bad things can happen. Sometimes you may have to go through some things to learn that lesson. Okay. So again, prevention. Don't hang out with people that bring trouble into your life. Don't hang out with people and hang out at places that you know that these places can turn into something bad really, really quickly. Unless you absolutely have to be there for whatever reason, you make sure you pay protection over yourself. Call protection over yourself. Use your whatever it is tools for protection. You do that. But if you can prevent it, go with that first, right? I don't have to go to this. I'm gonna protect myself by not going. Okay. Again, going back to prevention also means listening to the body, right? Again, your body sometimes will tell you when something is wrong. So as a youngin, my stomach usually would be the marker to tell me something isn't right. And now, when I got into my probably late 30s, early 40s, I started noticing a shift in that. Instead of feeling it in my stomach, I would feel it in my chest. So when I get ready to interact with certain people, or if I'm getting ready to go to a certain place, or getting ready to do something that's like, danger, I get a chest palpitation go doom, 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 letting me know, hey, you might not want to do that. Or you may not want to answer that message. Or you better call protection of yourself before you know, respond or before you open that. Because maybe the divine is saying, this person has something attached to them that you need to make sure you call protection over you before you engage, right? So it don't always mean something bad is going to happen to you. It could just be warning you that, again, something is off, something is wrong. Maybe you're getting ready to go to the store, but the divine looking ahead, God says, it's an accident get ready to happen. You might not want to go right now. And then you get in the car and then your heart starts beating fast. And then I sit there and I wait and I wait. And next thing you know, I hear the ambulance and I hear the police cars and I'm like, oh, I was being prevented. I was being protected and being prevented from leaving at that moment. So listen to your body. Because God will use your body to warn you when something is wrong, right? Your ancestors, your spirit guides will use your body to warn you when something is wrong. So if it doesn't feel right, it's not right. If it doesn't feel right, it's not right. Pay attention to what your body feels like when you are around certain people, certain places, certain things, certain, environments. Just pay attention to what your body feels like. Okay? Okay. Prevention. I can't stress that enough. If you can prevent yourself from getting into trouble, go with that first. Okay, let's go into the next thing when it comes to protection. And that's going to be using symbols. And in some cases, some people may want to use sigils, right? So we're going to just talk about symbols because, to keep it simple. So using symbols for protection also works very well because using a symbol typically is going to deal with the intentions put into the symbol to make it work. And it's not limited to any one or two symbols. You can even create your own symbols of protection as long as those are the intentions placed into that particular symbol. And that symbol can be used with multiple forms of protection and can be and the intentions can be changed based off the situation. Meaning, I can use one symbol to over my vehicle to protect me from accidents, and I can use that same symbol uh, over my heart to protect me from those who intend to break it, or a symbol over my mind to protect me from any bad energy that tries to enter it. Just saying that you can use a symbol with multiple different intentions placed in it, right? And when it comes to symbols, in my opinion, there's no right or wrong symbols to use. Just make sure that it is a symbol of protection. And I will say, taking that back now, because I only deal with light, I only would use a symbol that is of light. Meaning, if there was a symbol that was created of darkness or from a dark source, I personally probably wouldn't use it because I don't operate on that side. I operate on the side of light. So it would have to be a symbol that is of light for me to think of using it. Okay. So again, it's about intentions that you place into the symbol that can be used. So I'm going to give a few examples, right? Let's say you are a Reiki practitioner, Reiki master, and you understand the Choku Rei symbol, okay? And in understanding that symbol, it can be used for 100 different things, but for this particular time, I'm going to use it for protection. So one of the ways I would do it is I would place Choku 6 times around me, meaning one Choku in the front, one in the back, one on each side, and one above, one below, creating a sphere of protection around me. I'm placing the symbols around my body with the intentions of protecting me from any harm, any danger, whatever it is, right? And that includes protection and prevention and protection and warnings. So another symbol that a lot of people use for protection is a cross. For example, a lot of people wear a cross on their neck for protection. That is a symbol. You can use that symbol with the intentions of protection. Even though that symbol has other meanings to it, you can say, I want to use it for protection. And me, if I was using the cross, I would use it the same way. I would put a cross in front of me, one in back, one on each side, top and bottom. And I would use my intentions, my words, to say that these symbols or these cross symbols are placed around me for protection. Okay. So that's another example, again, of using symbols for protection. It's all about the intentions that you speak into them and or the intentions of why they were created. Now, just because a symbol was initially created a certain way does not mean that you do not have the power to change the intentions of that particular symbol. However, in my opinion, I still would kind of be cautious on the side of using symbols that may not be created in light and goodness. Okay, that's just my opinion. Okay, so symbols. So I use Choku as an example. I use the cross as an example. I have seen people use the Ankh as an example for protection. I have seen people use you got Celtic, you have just different cultures and different religions. Everyone has different symbols that they use for protection. Just make sure you have the intentions on either just a general divine protection, or you can also speak a specific protection over that symbol of what you're using it for. Ashe. Ashe. Okay, and then lastly, we're going to talk about is prayers and affirmations. Prayers and affirmations in protection. So, last week we went over prayers and affirmations. So, again, using each class leading up to the next, when we talk about prayers and affirmations, this plays a major role, in my opinion, when it comes to protection. Remember, prayers, if you remember in the last class, deals with asking a request, asking God a request to receive something. And then affirmations also deals with can look like a request, in my opinion. However, it's speaking something into existence as if you already have it or what you want to have, right? And so prayers and affirmations is, in my opinion, should be used daily in your protection, regardless of whatever other tool you may be using, right? So even if I'm wearing a black tourmaline, which I was shown in a dream to use, I still want to also do prayers and affirmations along with wearing my black tourmaline to not only add another layer of protection, but to also strengthen that protection I may even be getting from the black tourmaline itself, right? So I want to pray and I want to add extra layers of protection over me as much as I can. Even when we're talking about the aura, talked about first, I may put one gold light, but I also may put 3 or 4 golden lights around it and layer the protection, right? I want to have many layers of protection as needed. So prayers and affirmations. So one way that I like to use when it comes to prayers is I would simply say something to the effect is I pray divine protection over my mind, body, and soul for the day or for the week. Ashe, amen, whatever word I may want to use at that time. I may also pray for protection when I go to bed. So when I get ready to go to sleep, I pray for protection over my mind, body, and soul while I sleep. I pray that my dreams are protected from any negative spirits and bad spirits, bad energy entering. Um, I pray that I sleep restful. So I say prayers even before I go to bed to pray for protection over myself while I'm sleeping. Pray protection over your home while you're sleeping or while you're away or even while you're in there. So prayers, again, you're requesting something. Now, the other part of that definition we talked about last week is that not only prayers is a request, but it also is a form that you can also use to give gratitude, right? Give God praises and whatever it is that you may believe in. So not only do I pray for protection, I also give gratitude for that protection that's being placed over me. Okay. One of the ways that I like to call for protection, my spirit guide showed me, was using Psalms 91. Psalms 91. So I'm going to pull up Psalms 91 and show you why I like using this particular Psalms. To me, this particular Psalms covers everything when it comes to protection. So you can say it as a form of a prayer, or you can say it as a form of affirmation. To me, you make sure you say it, and then make sure you feel it after you say it. You say it, and you feel the protection over you as you say it. So when using Psalms 91, and again, this is my opinion based off my own practice, but you can do it however it feels right for you. Okay, my way isn't always the right way for everyone. So just make sure you pray for guidance, wisdom, and knowledge over this on how to use it, how to say it, how to speak it. That's going to work for you. Okay, so here. Psalms number 1. Whoever dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. I will say to the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God in whom I trust. So to me, using number 2, I would use verse 2 as like an affirmation. And I would say that, and then I would feel it. I would feel the energy of God being over me. I would feel that fortress being placed over me. So I'm going to say it again. He is my refuge, my fortress, my God in whom I trust. Amen, or Ashe, or whatever word you want to use. And then I would sit quietly, and then I would feel that fortress being, that protection being placed over me. Feel the energy of God, of the Most High, the universe, whatever word you want to use, to be placing that protection over me. Okay? Now, one of the things about using Psalms 91, I like to look at it as an activation of protection. And it also could be used almost like a cleansing, but definitely as a protection. So if I go to verse number 3, it says, surely he will save you from the fowler's snare and from the deadly pestilence, right? So by speaking that verse, what I have done when I speak that is I'm activating into the universe, into the world, that anything that is considered a fowler's snare, meaning anything that's trying to attack me, any type of deadly pestilence, anything trying to attack me, because I have said that, I am giving God and a divine permission to save me from it. I'm activating it by saying it with my mouth, right? By speaking it. Verse number 4, he will cover you with his feathers, and under his wings you will find refuge. So now I'm basically speaking this, and let me continue first. His faithfulness will be your shield and rampart. So again, by speaking that, now I'm also saying I'm giving God permission to place protection over me, place the wings of protection over me, whether it be literal or symbolic. It's about the intentions. So I'm going to speak it so that it can be activated over me. You will not fear terror or night, nor the arrow that flies by day. So let's go back to prevention. So when you have fear in you, fear can attract things and spirits and energies that can harm you because you are scared of it. And sometimes it's not there to actually harm you, it's there to expose to you that you have this fear. So when you speak, you will not have fear. I will not have fear, the terror of night. When I speak, I will not have fear as an affirmation, I'm basically retraining my mind and my inner self to say, because I have God's protection and the protection of my angels, my ancestors, or whoever it is that you follow, because I have that protection, I will not allow the energy of fear to keep my vibrations low. Because when my vibrations are low, then I'm now on the same level of the low vibrational entities and spirits that can come around me. So by releasing that fear and not having that fear, I protect myself by not allowing myself to be in the vibration of fear. Okay? So, again, Psalms 91, my recommendation is to read it out loud, read the whole thing out loud anytime you feel that you need to. Verse 11, for he will command his angels concerning you to guard you in all your ways. They will lift you up in their hands so that you will not strike your foot against a stone. So now, in this protection, you're now calling on God's angels, right, to also add another layer of protection by reading that. So you could do it without reading this, and you can simply just pray for God's angels or whatever it is that you follow or believe in, that they come around you for protection, your guardian angels, your guardian ancestors, right? You can pray for your guardian ancestors to be assigned to you for protection. A lot of your ancestors, believe it or not, are angels. A lot of them are. Not all of them are bad. A lot of them are actually really good. You may ask God to send you an angel, and it may be one of your ancestors that show up because they have a vibration that's high enough to reach an angelic status, right? So don't discount your ancestors, because some of your ancestors are the angels that God sends to guide and protect you. Okay? Keep that in mind. So, for he will command his angels concerning you to guard you, to guard you. So, when you're reading Psalms 91, again, I like to read Psalms 91 because it covers all forms of protection, right? And so you have a whole nother layer here, meaning that you have not only God protecting you, but you also have the angels, ancestors that are also protecting you as well. Okay, so I wanted to use again Psalms 91 as an example for protection, because for those who may use the Bible for protection, especially the Book of Psalms, Psalms 91 is probably my favorite. Well, it is my favorite, and in my opinion, I feel like it's one of the strongest books, not books, chapters that you can use when it comes to protection. Okay, Psalms 91. I read it pretty much weekly. And then anytime I feel the need, listening to my body, listening to my intuition, if I feel like I need to read it again, I will read it again. And again, when you read it, feel it. Don't just read it. Read it and actually feel the energy of the words being read. Ashe? Now, the other thing with Psalms 91 and any other affirmations that can be similar is that you also use affirmations to protect yourself as well, just like we talked about in last week. You have prayers and you have affirmations. So a prayer could be, God, please protect me from those who wish me harm. An affirmation, speaking it as it is already done, could be, God protects me from people who tries to harm me. I'm speaking it as it's already done. It's already a thing, right? So that could be the difference between a prayer and affirmation. To me, whether you speak it in the form of a prayer, which is a request, or an affirmation, which is also a request, because if you say, God protects me from people who tries to harm me, right? If I say that as if it's already done, then God is like, oh, wait a minute. Oh, let's do that. So either way, you're still asking the request, whether you're doing it in the form of a prayer or an affirmation. But when you say it as an affirmation as well, not only are you saying it for it to be a request to be activated, you're also saying it in a trust. There's a trust in it that's like, when I said it because I know it's going to happen, right? That means I know God going to do it when I say it. So yeah, it's a request, but I'm also speaking it because I already know God going to do it when I say it, right? So prayers and affirmations, make sure you definitely incorporate, in my opinion, in your divine protection when it comes to protecting yourself. So an affirmation again could be like, I am divinely protected. I am divinely protected. Because And I repeat that I am divinely protected. And I keep saying it over and over again until I feel the divine protection being placed over me, being placed inside of me. Okay. So to close out, right? Remember, protection is a two-way street. So not only do we call protection from things that are external, we got to also make sure that we understand that protection also is an internal thing as well, meaning we protect ourselves by also preventing ourselves from being put in certain situations that can be harmful, right? External protection is like I'm driving down the street, someone is getting ready to hit my car, and something grabs my steering wheel and pulls it, and then the collision is avoided, right? That could be an external protection that's happening. You know, one of the God's angels, one of my ancestors came in and jerked the steering wheel so I don't get into that accident. Okay, an internal protection would be this person is crazy. I'm not going out with them. They are bad news. I'm staying my butt at home. That is an internal protection. I am not allowing myself to be put in a situation that I know can put me in harm's way. So because of that, y'all go out, I'm staying home. That's an internal protection. Remember, it goes both ways. So make sure you pray for that external protection over you, okay? Whatever means that you need to do it. And I recommend having more than one way. Um, and also make sure you also protect yourself by preventing yourself from being put in situations that you don't need to be in. Allow your intuition to guide you. Remember that intuition is coming from God inside of you. So listen to it. Ashe? All right. Hopefully, this class opened up your mind so that you can be able to appreciate being protected. And hopefully, you can look back and know that you have been protected, right? And then hopefully, you can also look back and be honest with yourself and say, man, I have put myself in positions where I'm lucky to have made it out of there because that could have been bad. Yes, I was protected, but it could have went another way had I, made a better conscious decision to not put myself in harm's way. So, hopefully, again, this opens your mind to other ways of protection and that you call on your protection day and night, daily. When you're getting ready to do anything, make sure you pray for protection over yourself. If you have children, pray for protection over your children, pray for protection over your home, your vehicles, whatever it is that's near and dear to you, call protection over it. Okay? All right. Peace and blessings to you all. I will see y'all in the next class. Ashe.